Sergio Perez's struggle this season is no secret, and it's starting to hurt Red Bull's chances in a big way. While Max Verstappen has been dominating the leaderboard, Perez has been battling to even break into the top 5. For the last 12 races, his lackluster performance has left Red Bull in a tough spot, losing their top spot in the Constructors' Championship and staring down the barrel at a resurgent Ferrari that threatens to push them even further down the standings. But here's where it gets interesting. If Verstappen clinches the driver's title and Red Bull slips to 3rd, it would be the first time since 1983 that a champions team finishes outside the top 2. With so much on the line, Red Bull has issued a direct warning to Perez. He needs to step up fast or face some serious consequences. Today we're diving deep into the latest Red Bull crisis, uncovering the massive blow they just suffered and exploring what this means for their future. You won't want to miss this, so make sure to stick around until the end. McLaren has now surged ahead in the Constructors' Championship, holding a 41-point lead that seems unshakable. Red Bull had initially kicked off the season with remarkable strength, dominating the field. Verstappen clinched victory in the first 2 races with a commanding lead, setting the tone for a strong campaign. During those opening 6 races, Perez also showed promise, achieving 4 podium finishes. It seemed like the Mexican driver had finally rediscovered his form after a challenging 2023, hinting that Red Bull might be unstoppable once again. However, as the season progressed, Red Bull's performance edge started to fade, and unfortunately, Perez's form followed suit. Since the Miami Grand Prix, Perez has been unable to secure a single top 5 finish, leaving Red Bull heavily reliant on Verstappen's consistent point haul to keep their championship hopes alive. At present, Verstappen has more than double the points of Perez, and that gap continues to widen. It looked like Perez had turned things around in Azerbaijan, outperforming Verstappen and setting himself up for a podium finish, only to be thwarted by a late collision with Carlos Sainz. Unfortunately, Perez couldn't carry the momentum from Azerbaijan into the next race in Singapore. In a disappointing turn of events, he was eliminated in Q2 and ended up finishing in 10th place. Despite making a promising start by gaining 3 positions early on, he found himself stuck behind Williams rookie Franco Capito for the remainder of the opening stint. This inability to progress further on the track put Red Bull in a tight spot. During the pit stop phase, Perez surrendered another position to a Ferrari and struggled to pass Nico Hülkenberg's Haas in the final stages. His failure to make any decisive overtakes, whether against a rookie or an experienced driver, was a frustrating setback for Red Bull. Team boss Christian Horner didn't hold back, commenting, "Checo was stuck behind Hülkenberg for almost 30 laps. Horner further explained, "Checo had a decent first lap, but he just couldn't manage to overtake. He lacked traction in crucial spots, like exiting turn 3 onto the back straight." With McLaren's Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri both landing on the podium again, Horner stressed that Perez needs to support Verstappen better. This isn't the first time Red Bull has publicly pushed Perez to perform better, but this time it might have more weight behind it. What makes the situation even more intriguing is that the Singapore Grand Prix appears to be Daniel Ricciardo's last race for the team. Red Bull brought Ricciardo on board as a potential alternative to Perez if his performance fell short. Despite Perez's underwhelming season, Red Bull has yet to make that change. With the 2024 F1 season on a month-long break before resuming in Austin, Red Bull's team principal Christian Horner has mentioned that they will use this time for a thorough evaluation of their driver lineup. Ricciardo was initially seen as a safety net for Red Bull if things went south with Perez. However, Ricciardo's season has also been less than stellar. He has scored only 12 points, compared to his teammates' 22, highlighting a performance gap that Red Bull cannot ignore. Horner pointed out, "Daniel has had a decent season, but not an outstanding one." This puts the focus back on how Liam Lawson might fit into their future plans if Perez continues to struggle. Red Bull's decision to replace Ricciardo with Liam Lawson for the last 6 races hints that the team is still willing to make changes if they believe it will benefit their overall performance. This move could be a calculated test, giving Lawson a chance to prove himself in case Red Bull decides they need a fresh face to replace Perez in 2025. Former F1 champion Nico Rosberg certainly thinks that Perez's seat is under threat for the next season. When asked about Perez's situation following his disappointing performance, Rosberg commented, It's the same struggles as before, especially when compared to Max, who was at his peak once again this weekend. That just makes the gap between them look enormous. Rosberg also pointed out that Red Bull's car was particularly challenged on the Singapore track, which further exposed the weaknesses in Perez's performance. However, Rosberg was clear that Perez must show progress soon, or Red Bull will seriously reconsider their lineup for next year. It would be unfair to place all the blame on Perez, though. Red Bull's car has faced issues since last year's Singapore Grand Prix. Red Bull's car has been facing challenges for quite some time, an issue that Perez has been vocal about. He has pointed out that while Verstappen managed to succeed despite the car's problems, those issues have impacted his own performance. Recently, the team even went as far as apologizing to Perez for not taking his concerns seriously. Despite Perez's struggles in Singapore, he argued that Red Bull could have been more aggressive on the strategy front, similar to what Ferrari did with Carlos Sainz. When asked about his frustration with the outcome in Singapore, Perez said, "Yes, it's disappointing. I think we missed an opportunity. Looking at where Carlos finished, we could have made more progress by being more aggressive with our strategy." He added that being stuck on the same tire strategy behind Nico Hülkenberg's Haas left him with no real opportunities to make passes. Blaming the team's strategy for his inability to overtake a Haas and a Williams car in a Red Bull is not the strongest defense for Perez, though. His 10th place finish in Singapore is just another in a string of underwhelming results this season, and strategy mishaps alone can't explain all his shortcomings. Perez's underperformance isn't the only problem on Red Bull's radar. The team recently suffered a major internal shakeup as their head of race strategy, Will Courtney, decided to leave after 14 years to join McLaren as their sporting director. This is a significant blow, as it marks the third senior staff member to exit Red Bull in just 5 months, signaling an ongoing restructuring within the team. McLaren's team principal, Andrea Stella, expressed confidence in the move, stating, "Will's experience, professionalism, and passion for motorsport make him the perfect fit to lead our sporting function." He emphasized that Courtney's addition would strengthen McLaren's leadership as they continue to push for wins and championship contention. Courtney's departure follows 2 other big exits at Red Bull Chief Technical Officer Adrian Newey and Sporting Director Jonathan Wheatley. Newey negotiated an early exit from his contract and is set to join Aston Martin in March next year. Wheatley also recently announced his move to join the Audi team, which currently races as Sauber, in a principal role starting in 2025. The series of high-profile departures from Red Bull comes amidst swirling controversy within the team. Allegations of sexual harassment and coercive control were recently made against team principal Christian Horner by a female employee. Although Horner has strongly denied these accusations and internal investigations conducted by Red Bull have dismissed the claims, the situation adds further instability to the team. These exits could have serious implications for Red Bull's future. Losing senior personnel, especially in key strategic and technical roles, can make it harder for the team to maintain a high level of performance. A lack of stability at the top could impact everything from car development to race day strategies, leaving Red Bull in a vulnerable position. So, what do you think? Is Red Bull's internal turbulence a sign of bigger problems to come? And is the pressure they're putting on Sergio Perez fair, given the circumstances? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, drive safe and take care.